Okay, liebe Teilnehmer, herzlich willkommen zum nächsten Vortrag. Ich sage schon mal Hallo und wir switchen jetzt gleich in Englisch. Der Vortrag wird in Englisch sein, aber keine Sorge, Bills Englisch ist perfekt. Also Sie werden alle folgen können. Hi Bill, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Great to have you on board today. And I will just quickly introduce yourself and then we'll just dive into the ocean or cloud native seas, as you were saying, voyaging and navigating through the cloud native seas. So you are Bill Mulligan, you're marketing manager at the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. We're proud to have you on board today, and I'll just leave it up to you. And if we have time for questions afterwards, that's fine. If not, the stage is yours.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So herzlich willkommen, everyone. Thank you for coming. Unfortunately, as you all know, the biggest thing in the last bit and why we're not all together in a room today is because of COVID. And that has really fundamentally changed the way a lot of businesses work today. I think that's actually really impacted all the businesses that we work for. If you just even look at the stock market, the difference between the average company between last year and this year has been, about the same. But for online or digital first companies, it's been a massive boon. Those companies that can deliver their services or products digitally have seen massive growth because of COVID. I don't think this is a one-time thing that we're going to go backwards to. This digitalization trend is going to be a massive game changer in how companies do business. And IT is at the center of digitalizing businesses, services, and products. Now, taking an example from here in Germany at Zalando, one company that is so good at delivering their products through digital services is Zalando. And the basis of all of their IT infrastructure is Kubernetes, because it enables them to have an end-to-end developer experience where they can go to production with their IT experiences with a single declarative APIs. They are able to do 3,000 production deployments per week and come up with a full stack on AWS in just seconds. Now, the big difference for them here is that they are using cloud native technologies because it is the future, and that's what we're here to talk about today. It really has become the de facto standards across all industries that everyone's used, and COVID is only accelerating this transformation. In our most recent cloud native survey in 2020, 92% of companies were reporting that they're using containers in production. And this is up 300% since our first survey in 2016. And alongside of that, Kubernetes is used in production by 83% of those people. Now, when I say cloud native, what do we actually mean? There's the definition from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation that cloud native technologies empower organizations to build and run scalable applications in modern dynamic environments, such as public, private, and hybrid clouds. And you can keep reading the rest. But what does this actually mean for the customers, and why do digital businesses actually have greater leverage over this? Because for their customers, what being cloud native means is that their services they work frictionlessly. And not only do they work, but they improve quickly. So being able to deliver that digital product or service works seamlessly for their customers, and that's where customers want to go. This is changing how businesses fundamentally function. Now, when I say this definition came from the Cloud Native Computing Foundation that I work there, for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are or what we do, we're kind of helping lead this transformational charge. We're a foundation that is kind of having all these foundational technologies, over 70 open source projects, including some of our most well-known, including Kubernetes, Prometheus, which was actually out of SoundCloud here in Berlin, where I'm sitting, Helm, Harbor, Jaeger. But beyond that, beyond our most well-known projects, we're also incubating the whole next generation of cloud native technologies. There's over 70 different technologies in the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, stretching from high performance computing to edge computing to the next wave of deploying and managing applications in digital environments. We're one of the largest open source foundations in the world with over 600 members and growing, it seems like, almost every single day. At our platinum member, you can see SAP is one of the German companies leading the charge of digitalization. Not only that, besides our member companies that are selling and using cloud native services, we also are the foundation with the largest end user community in the world. And these are the people that are delivering services to their customers using cloud native technologies. So companies like Zalando, like N26, like Deutsche Bahn, that are putting things into production so that their customers can consume things digitally. And this has really created kind of a whole ecosystem around cloud native technologies that's changing what people are able to do. And I think there's kind of like 3 key factors to what we're able to do on cloud native. The first one is really team cloud native. The second one is our end user community. And the last one is the diversity of the community. Now, the first building block, what is hashtag Team Cloud Native, as our general manager, Priyanka, likes to say? Well, Team Cloud Native is a global community of developers. In our latest survey, there's 6.5 million cloud native developers around the world. And this is increasing at an ever accelerating rate. Just since Q2 in 2019, that we added 1.8 million developers. There's also 2.7 million people already using Kubernetes. And most people are running on containers. So this is not just something that, this is a set of technologies that you can find developers, people who know how to use it, and people who know how to operate it around the whole world, 24/7, wherever you need to go. And what does this actually mean? Is Team Cloud Native is a foundation of doers. We're the people that contribute to the projects, that put into production and provide feedback from production back into the projects. It's this whole ecosystem that really drives cloud native technologies forward faster than any other projects can. We host, as I said before, over 70 projects, and these projects are home to over 100,000 contributors representing almost every single country in the world. This whole ecosystem of collaboration between companies for interoperability and collaboration that we create through this neutral IP zone really creates a place and an ecosystem for people to do their best work. And from that work, we get the really transformational technologies that cloud native encompasses. The second part of the CNCF that I think is super important is our end users. So as I said before, the end users are the people that are putting it into production. So for example, N26 is a digital bank based out of Berlin, and they're providing a digital banking service to the customers. Their digital bank is built using cloud native technologies. And so the end users are the people that are actually using cloud native technologies and putting them into production. Well, they're not selling services around the cloud native technologies. They are having the battle tested and battle tried experience of putting things into production. And their feedback of finding what does and doesn't work is key to creating a virtuous cycle around cloud native technologies to make them better and better for everyone in the whole ecosystem to use. The third part that is super important for the cloud native community and for the CNCF specifically is really diversity powered resilience. When we say a community, when we say an ecosystem, it's not about certain type of people, or it's not about one certain type of user experience. We want to be like the open foundation that welcomes everybody, that wants to contribute, that wants to talk, that wants to speak, that wants to have a part in growing what we're doing. We really see diversity as the heart of this open source movement, because what we found is that when we have more people contributing, we have a much better experience, we have much more innovation. And that creates the best projects for our end users, and those end users go on to be able to create better services for their customers. This diversity powered resilience is the key to everything that we do at the CNCF. And so if you are interested in getting to know more about the CNCF or cloud native technologies in general, we do have a lot of resources for you and for the community, and really for anyone to access as they start their cloud native journey. So the first one that I want to point you to is the CNCF landscape. So if you go to landscape.cncf.io, you can see the whole landscape of different cloud native technologies, companies, and different groups. And so what this does is give you an overview of different technologies that you can use to solve different problems in your businesses. So now if we zoom in onto one specific part of this landscape, For example, container runtime, we can see, okay, I want to put a new service into production, and I'm wondering what container runtimes are available for me to use in my digital project. We can see that there's Containerd, which is a CNCF graduated project. There's CRIO, which is a CNCF incubating project, and there's multiple other projects in the ecosystem. From the landscape, you can get an overview of what projects, what technologies, and what solutions are available for each of the different problem areas that you're looking at. The second part is the CNCF technology radar. And so what this is feedback from our end user community of what they're putting into production, what they've tested in production, and what they're advocating for in production. And this is the collective experience of major companies around the world saying what does and doesn't work in production. And this gives us different levels. There's assess, trial, and adopt, with recommendations from people who have to, if something goes wrong in production, wake up at 3 a.m. So they only put the recommendations behind those technologies that they really trust. For example, our continuous delivery technology radar that was done in June 2020 recommends Flux and Helm for the adopt. So if you're looking for ways to do continuous delivery, you should consider adopting Flux and Helm. If you're looking for new technologies to trial, you might want to check out GitLab, Customize, or Circle CI. And if you're just assessing like what other options there are, there's a whole range of other things. And so what the technology radar really gives you is insight into what actually works in production, what actually is being used in production today. If you are an end user, I encourage you to join the end user community, where we have a whole ecosystem built around just your needs and allowing you to get access to more detailed information and feedback with other companies that are in the same situation. The next part is the end user case study. So what I pulled, the statistics I pulled about Zalando at the beginning of my talk, those are actually part of a case study that Zalando did with the CNCF to help us understand how they're using cloud native technologies and what it has done for their companies. This is a great resource of over 85 different case studies covering companies of all different sizes, from startups to Fortune 500s across all different geographies, representing very many different cloud native technologies. And what this is a resource to help you, your company, or your customers understand the benefit and the impact of cloud native technologies. So if you're looking to understand what impact cloud native technologies can have on a business, the end user case studies are the place to go. The next part is training. A key part of having enough people in the ecosystem is having people that are experienced and know how to run things and how to run things well. Well, the CNCF has a whole ecosystem of different things that we offer for free to help people understand, use, and put cloud native technologies into production. Just our Kubernetes online course has over 150,000 enrollments. We also have different certifications like the Certified Kubernetes Administrator, Certified Kubernetes Application Developer, available for people to show to employers that they have the skill set that the employer needs. We also have additional free courses online around technologies like service mesh, cloud native logging, serverless, and even exciting new technologies like WebAssembly. Next, if you're an end user company that's looking for certified, proven, and trusted advisors to help you on your cloud native journey, we do have a partner program of Kubernetes training partners and Kubernetes certified service providers that can help you with. And these are people that do have the certification, the knowledge, and the experience to be able to help you on your cloud native journey. This is also part of the CNCF landscape. And lastly, I also want to invite you to join the community and contribute. As I was saying before, we have contributors from all over the world. And what makes this ecosystem so great is that all of them are contributing into it. If you want to jump in, there's multiple different ways to contribute to the project. It's not just making major contributions to Kubernetes. Actually, my first contribution to open source was fixing a link in the Kubernetes documentation. So it doesn't need to be a massive project. You don't need to submit your own project. You can join in any of the projects. There's also different areas you can work in the technical oversight or even just community engagement, like ambassadors, meetups, or the mentorship program. And speaking about students and mentorship, we, as I said, we like to encourage people to grow into the community and help diversify the community. At KubeCon, our flagship conference, we had over 185 different scholarships to encourage people from underrepresented minorities get access to these events. In addition to that, we have mentorship programs including LFX, Google Summer of Code and Docs, and Outreachery, where we help people that want to have an internship in open source have that ability to help contribute to and improve the cloud native community. Finally, if you want to actually go and meet the community, there's a variety of different ways to do that. The first is the cloud native community groups, which are the local groups. I know there's one here in Berlin that meets on a monthly basis. Next is kind of like regional events, which are cloud native technologies that bring together the cloud native community to talk about tech. And the final one is our premier cloud native events, KubeCon plus Cloud Native Con. Next one in Europe will be virtual and is May 4th to 7th. And our North American one will hopefully be in Los Angeles in October. So if you're interested in becoming a member, feel free to link out. There's lots of different benefits, including all these different things that we have. And so please feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions or want to access any of these resources. I'm always happy to meet and chat with new people that want to become a part of the cloud native ecosystem. You can either reach me on my email, on Twitter, or just book a meeting with me directly. So thank you for coming today, and thank you for inviting me.
Great lecture, thank you. So we do have a few spare minutes. So maybe you can give us an insight on what companies in Germany use cloud native technologies.
Yeah, definitely. So I walked through a couple of the companies in the deck. So obviously the largest technology company is going to be SAP, and they're a large contributor to the Kubernetes projects. And they also have multiple different other cloud native technologies that they're building up. I think there's a bunch of other companies. For example, I used to work for Kubermatic, which is a company out of Hamburg. And there's also Kinvolk here in Berlin that are working on it. But in terms of end users, and I think this is really the most interesting use cases, there are so many companies, even in Germany, that are going cloud native. Even something like Deutsche Bahn is using cloud native technology. And I think that's really cool to see the adoption by German, even Mittelstand companies.
Interesting. So how do I, as a company, start my cloud journey? What's the best first step?
I think the best first step is taking a look at some of the resources. I would actually probably, if I were starting today, I would actually dive into the case studies first. I think that's a really great resource to understand what other companies did and the improvements that they got. I think sometimes it's fun to say like, oh, we can try out this new technology and it's really fun. But at the end of the day, you need to deliver, results for your business. And I think the end user case studies are a great resource to understand what problems you're trying to solve and what solutions there can be. I think there's actually even a filter for what business problem you're trying to solve. And so you can go in there and filter through and see I'm having a problem with monitoring. What are the case studies about this to understand how other companies have tackled the same issues? So you can kind of learn from and build on the experience of giants.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So you are getting a lot of positive feedback. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
So great lecture. Thank you. And you are still available, right? You're still online and available through chat or video chat. So if you feel like you have tons of more questions, then feel free. You're blocked for us, so to say, for today.
Absolutely. And I'm always happy to chat with people. I left my contact info. So any platform, please feel free to reach out.
Excellent. We have another question, Georgie. I know you're always a little bit late with the questions, so maybe you can get in touch. We did have that before, so it's a pity we don't have time, but you think a lot. That's a good point. So maybe you can get in touch directly with Bill, and he's happy to go through all the questions. So we're now going all to the lobby. We're having a little not final goodbye, because we do have 2 deep dive sessions at the end, but we're all meeting now in the lobby. Thanks again, Bill. Thanks for everybody who's watching, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.